Okay, so one of the more interesting, I guess, things I've come across in, recent time is is how the transgender agenda is actually directly linked to the war in Israel Palestine excuse me. And this is how. So, did a little Google search, looked around, and I came across a little bit of a reading here. And I read it out so I don't get confused or mixed up in my communication to whoever's listening. Number one, the Adam Kadmon and the concept of gender fluidity. In Jewish mysticism called Kabbalah, the Adam Kadmon is the primordial man, the first spiritual light to emerge from the infinite, non-binary nature. Adam Kadmon is often described as a genderless or androgynous being that contains both masculine and feminine energies in perfect balance. The agenda interpretation. Some modern esoteric and conspiracy-leaning circles interpret the Adam Kadmon archetype as a blueprint for a transgender agenda. They argue that if the original divine state is androgynous, quote-unquote, then blurring the lines between male and female in the physical world is a way of returning that primordial perfection. The traditional view. Scholars see this not as a social agenda, but as a metaphysical state where dualities don't simply exist yet. All right, whatever. Step two. We'll call it step two, or number two. All right, the split of Yahweh and Shekinah. Central to many mystical traditions is the idea that the divine has been fractured by human history. The masculine and feminine, Yahweh, is often associated with the transcendent masculine aspect of God, while the Shekinah represents the immanent feminine presence of God on earth. The exile. Mystics believe that when the Second Temple was destroyed and Jewish people went into exile, the Shekinah also went into exile. This created a quote-unquote split at the Temple Mount. The goal. The ultimate goal, Tikkun Olam, is the reunification of the masculine and feminine aspects of God. This reunion is traditionally expected to happen at the center of the world, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Now this is where everything gets interesting and surface for my, I guess you would call it interpretation or my research. Number three, the link to the Israel-Palestine conflict. The reason these high-level mystical concepts bleed into a very real violent war is the belief that geography dictates spirituality. Concept, the holy ground. Connection to the conflict. Both sides view the Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif, as the literal anchor point for the divine on earth. For some, control of this ground is a prerequisite for healing the split between Yahweh and Shekinah. The third temple. Some extremist groups believe that building a third temple is necessary to invite the Shekinah back from exile, which would theoretically resynchronize the world with the state of Adam Kadmon, thereby ushering in transgenderism with the reinstitution of the temple, right? This is interesting. And the last one is the metaphysical war. From an esoteric perspective, the war isn't just about borders or sovereignty. It is seen as a struggle to determine which spiritual frequency will dominate the physical world. Summary of the esoteric narrative. The narrative suggests that the conflict over the Holy Land is a physical manifestation of a spiritual divorce. Proponents of this view believe that as long as the ground is contested and the temple is absent, the divine remains fractured, masculine separated from feminine, thereby man and female. Before God makes Eve from the rib of Adam, that primordial state, as they like to call it, quote unquote, primordial state, right? The Adam Kadmon link suggests that the modern shift toward gender fluid identities is a mirrored reflection, there you go, of this desire to collapse all dualities, including the duality of us versus them, and male and female, to force a return to a singular primordial unity centered in Jerusalem. Note, it is important to distinguish between these traditional religious practices and esoteric or occult interpretations. While many people hold these mystical beliefs, the vast majority of political and territorial conflict is driven by national identity, historical trauma, and human. Yeah, okay, please. And I got angel wings. So there you have it. That war in Israel Palestine is directly linked to the transgender or gender fluid agenda. And these are the most powerful people in the world that are trying to take back this land. And they will get it. Anybody who knows the Lord Jesus Christ and his revelation to John of Patmos, anybody who knows the prophecy and knows where the abomination of desolation will stand, that was spoken through the prophet Daniel, knows that they will get this temple ground. And when they get this temple ground, they will establish the new world order. And with that, begin to depopulate the world in order to make way for the new age to begin. Their manufactured synthetic new age. Not the new age, the second coming of Christ, but the coming of the Antichrist, who can only come if the world is converted back into its quote-unquote primordial state. So there you have it. There it is, right there in the open. Hope you found this interesting. If this video actually gets some views, like and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Have a good day.